各位好朋友，各位媒体的好朋友，请大家先就座。活动将于3分钟后开始。那我们等一下就请大家拍完就坐。对，好，麻烦。对，就麻烦哦。那我们请现场的摄影大哥、摄影朋友、摄影大姐、大哥大姐，就是我们等一下等候选人进场以后就坐，那我们就请大家先移动到自己的位置，移动回去，谢谢，不好意思。这样，因为他站定位就要讲话。对。那麻烦大家就是在候选人就座的时候，就先移动回去位置上面。那我们活动就要马上开始，谢谢。
主持人麦到这。
不敢向前迈来讲输赢，无讲爱心来游诉，有讲一笔有缘故，未来这场无记号的地图，亲像咧叫我的，亲像咧叫我的。路，咱沿路唱歌，无路，咱撩起过岭。时间已将来不捌回头行，不敢向前迈来讲输赢。无讲爱心来游诉，有讲一笔有缘故，未来这场无记号的地图，亲像咧叫我的，亲像咧叫我的。路，咱沿路唱歌，无路，咱撩起过岭。时间已将来不捌回头行，不敢向前迈来讲输赢。无讲爱心来游诉，有讲一笔有缘故，未来这场无记号的地图，亲像咧叫我的，亲像咧叫我的。路，咱沿路唱歌，无路，咱撩起过岭。时间已将来不捌回头行，不敢向前迈来讲输赢。无讲爱心来游诉，有讲一笔有缘故，未来这场无记号的地图，亲像咧叫我的， 咱沿路唱歌，无路咱撩起过岭。时间已将来不捌回头行，不敢向前迈来讲输赢。无讲爱心来有数。
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen from the international press. Today, we're very fortunate to welcome Vice Presidential candidate Bi-khim Hsiao. Bi-khim has just recently returned from Washington, D.C., where she was our ambassador in the U.S. She has previously served as a legislator representing Hualien County and represented the DPP in the U.S. and globally.
让我们掌声欢迎副总统候选人萧美琴。萧大使最近才从华府返国，在美国期间，他担任驻美大使，为台美关系努力。他也曾经担任了代表花莲县的立法委员，以及代表民进党从事对美跟国际的事务。欢迎各位贵宾和媒体朋友们一起就座，我们的茶叙即将正式的开始。
Friends from the international media would like to ask you to take your seats at this time. So again, we'd like to thank all of you this morning for participating in Vice Presidential candidate Bi-khim Hsiao's international press event. My name is Vincent Chow, 我是竞总发言人赵怡翔, and I'll be hosting this event together with my colleague Karen Kuo.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Karen Guo, and I'm the campaign spokesperson for DPP campaign.
So 3 months ago, we had worked with TFCC and the Japanese Press Club to hold an international press event with our presidential candidate, Chairperson Lai Ching-te. Now, today, we are very fortunate again to have the vice presidential candidate, Hsiao Bi-khim, ready to engage with our international audience.
各位媒体朋友，还有正在收看直播的朋友们，大家早安！欢迎来到我们的国际茶叙的现场。我是竞总的发言人郭雅慧，今天我跟赵怡翔 Vincent 一块来主持这一场茶会，非常欢迎各位的莅临。大家都知道，大使才刚刚回到国内，过去呢他有非常多重要的表现，大家肯定都很期待今天的茶叙上能够有更多的互动。在今天的茶会开始，让我们掌声欢迎未来的副总统萧美琴为大家致辞。
Ambassador Hsiao, please join us on stage for your opening remarks.
Good morning, 大家早安。It's a great honor to be standing in this position representing the Democratic Progressive Party as a candidate for the president and vice presidential election campaign of 2024. 那我在开始之前，首先要跟我们许多国内的媒体记者、好朋友们先说声辛苦了哦。那也非常感谢你们过去这段时间的包容哦。我知道我有时候低调到让你们找不到，那事实上我是需要一些空间来思考我这个未来的路该怎么走。那当最后的决定还没有完成之前，其实也是要专注很多当下的工作跟任务哦。那当然现在来承担副总统候选人的这个角色，也期待未来就各项政策理念能够有机会持续跟各位沟通。To all the friends of the international press and media, I used to be in that position Vincent and Yahui were in since the year 2020. I've been in that job at least 3 times in successive presidential campaigns and elections. So this is not a task unfamiliar to me. But I must say that in this new role that I play, I shoulder a much heavier burden, especially under present international and strategic circumstances. The democracy, the peace, stability, and prosperity of Taiwan is a very important responsibility that we will shoulder as we move ahead in the campaign and in the following years. Now, for those of you who are Americans, today is Thanksgiving, and it's a day to express thanks. And I want to express my thanks and gratitude to the people of Taiwan for their resilience and their commitment to democracy. I previously served as Taiwan's representative to the United States for over 3 years. I've also played roles in Taiwan politics that bring me from very grassroots, rural counties of Taiwan to urban Taipei. So I bring to this campaign experience, pragmatism, and balance. I reference experience in the context that in former roles, I have focused on issues ranging from agriculture, marriage equality rights, transportation, balancing urban and rural development, digital equality, and many other issues. But I also bring to this campaign experience working with my American counterparts in the United States on our shared values and interests. The pragmatism and balance that I have referenced has been a very important component of my work in Washington, D.C. As I must balance multiple stakeholders and varying interests, finding that largest common denominator of our shared interests in peace, prosperity for our peoples, stability, and of course, protecting our democracies. Throughout this campaign, our presidential candidate, William Lai, has reiterated his approach to international relations and our external partnerships in the context of 4 pillars, involving defense deterrence, economic security and resilience, international partnerships, and principled and pragmatic cross-strait relations. As I join his ticket, I also join his commitment to these 4 pillars. Now, the decision to come back to run for office was not an easy one. And I must admit I had tremendous hesitations about rejoining the complicated political environment in Taiwan. But now that the decision has been made, I am committed to joining William Lai in leading Taiwan ahead in defending and protecting our democracy, our freedom, our basic rights, and opportunities for our people to build greater prosperity in our society. I look forward to the trust and confidence of the Taiwanese people. I also look forward to the continuing trust and confidence of our friends in their international community. Thank you.
大使请留步。
Thank you, Ambassador Xiao. Now, if you could just stay on stage for a minute while we adjust the seats. We will begin the QA session shortly. Again, a short reminder that I would like to ask our friends from the media to identify themselves and their affiliations before asking questions. Questions will be answered in the language asked. A Chinese language transcript of the question and answer period will be provided following the event.
今天稍后即将进行的媒体提问， 要欢迎各位媒体在举手之后，能够先说自己的媒体公司名字和自己的姓名。那么我们今天的进行呢，有国际媒体，也有本国媒体，我们将会交叉来提问。谢谢。Listen。
Okay, well, I guess this is the moment everybody's been waiting for in terms of the question and answer period. So our time is somewhat limited, so I would like to ask all of you to keep your questions a bit brief, and then we'll start with a quick question from a member of the international press today. So maybe in the front row, Ben, please.
Thank you, Ambassador Shao. I'm Ben Blanchard from Reuters. You have been sanctioned twice by the Chinese government. The Chinese government has made it very clear it does not at all approve of you standing with Vice President Lai. Under this situation, how would you go about being able to how would your administration go about being able to have any kind of dialogue or communication with China? How do you get over that problem, seeing as China really does seem to hate the both of you? Thank you.
I'll just quickly summarize that in Chinese. 这个刚刚路透社的记者有提到说，因为这个萧大使过去被中国制裁，未来要如何这个管理跟处理这个两岸事务。
Well, it happens that I'm not the only one on the sanction list. And the list is also shared by many other international friends who have been staunch advocates for democracy and human rights. I will continue to forge ahead in my commitment to defending Taiwan's democracy. I think we have reiterated our position that we remain open to dialogue, that we are also committed to the status quo. And as we take a pragmatic approach to balancing our international partnerships, I think it's also important that the international community, who also agrees with our position in continuing peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait, make clear to our counterparts across the Taiwan Strait that dialogue is the only way to resolve differences. War is not an option.
Thank you. Now, we'd like to open up the second question. Also, from the international press, we'll take the second question. Maybe the gentleman in the third row on my left. Yes, that's right. The representative of 日本共同通讯社。
谢谢主持人。收到信你好，我是日本共同社的记者。前一阵子，中国国家主席习近平在美中首脑会谈当中否认了2027年以及2035年共台的计划。请问邵大使，你个人对这个习近平的发言怎么解读？谢谢。
This was a quick question from our friends in Japan, the Japanese media, asking about the aftermath of the summit at APEC.
我们在 APEC 期间看到美国的拜登总统以及习近平主席的对话过程里面，美方拜登总统重申对台海和平稳定的支持以及坚持。那当然，我们也期待，也希望习近平主席所谓没有公台时间表的这个论述是真心诚意的。当然，我们也真心诚意的希望能够寻求跟对岸的最大公约数，也就是维持台海和平稳定的现状。那早年雷根总统时期， 跟苏联之间曾经有一个论述叫 trust but verify， 也就是相信但是要再确认。那我们也愿意以善意来看待任何寻求和平的机会，但是我们也需要强化自身的实力，我们才能够更有自信、更有信心来面对对岸，我们也才能更有信心来确保台海的和平跟稳定。
We will take the next question from a local reporter. 本地媒体的提问。TVBS 新闻网邵瑜。
TVBS 新闻网吴少瑜，想请教大使，富士康遭查税，郭董被罚8.8万，是否是中国介选在警告郭台铭？您怎么看待中国的角色？另外，国台办说您跟赖清德的组合是毒上加毒，您认同吗？
针对第一个问题哦，我们从1996年第一次有总统直选以来，每一次的大选都可以看到中共介选的影子。那当然，在这个过程当中，对于台商所承受的压力，我们也可想而知。那赖清德总统候选人也已经表达对台商的支持。台商不该成为中共野心的牺牲品。那我们在两岸如果要看到健康有秩序的经贸的往来，也希望对岸能够理解这种政治性的介选，或者是施以台商的各式的与经贸无关、与市场无关的政治压力，对于两岸之间的经贸往来都没有帮助。那当然，我们在未来的这段期间，也需要防范各种不同多元的介选模式，包含各式的认知作战。那我们在这个过程当中，也不断的要教育自己，要能够辨别是非，要能够辨识假讯息，要能够辨识各式的外来影响力。那台湾要对自己的前途有信心，对自己的未来也要有信心。那针对第二个问题，刚刚在第一位记者提问的时候，也有问到那这数十年来，共产党都有个习惯，就是把人分类，然后贴标签，然后斗争。但是我们这几十年来也看到，这样子的贴标签是不太具有建设性的哦。那我们坚持自由跟民主，与其他曾经被制裁的国际友人一样，会持续的捍卫我们应有的权利，也持续的捍卫我们的价值，包含自由民主以及台湾人民决定自己未来的基本利益。
Thank you. We'll take the fourth question now, perhaps from the international press. Maybe Joyu from the first row. Joyu Wang from the Wall Street Journal.
Hi, thanks for having us here. Just some quick questions. So, given your time in DC, I'm just wondering, like how would you think, Taiwan should manage, different voices on the Capitol, with some rather to be kind of, hawkish, and especially when it comes to, the U.S. policy over Taiwan and perhaps China. And I guess more general, we've just pretty, curious about, what you think your experience in DC that might or might not, be useful when it comes to dealing with relations with the U.S. and China, and perhaps, also still the future of Taiwan. Thank you.
Well, your question was about how I manage the different viewpoints in D.C. And actually, I think my former experience in a very robust and loud and noisy Taiwan politics actually gave me a lot of I should say it gave me a good foundation in handling different viewpoints. And my role in DC has always been a very delicate balance. You know, I have described myself as a cat warrior, figuratively, describing the need to balance multiple stakeholders. And we've always taken a very balanced approach as we manage delicate politics of different viewpoints. But I think the overarching principle is that, first of all, as a Taiwan government representative, we never get involved in American politics. Number two, we have to forge bipartisan and unified support for Taiwan. We cannot afford to let Taiwan become an issue of partisan difference in American politics. So everything we do it in a bipartisan way. We do it in a way that maximizes support from our friends across the board, across the political spectrum in Washington, D.C., and outside of the Beltway, too. I spent a lot of time traveling to different states and capitals. Also, as part of my own experience, I understand what grassroots democracy is about. And I know that American support to Taiwan cannot be limited to the Beltway. We have to expand our support among the American public and the American people. And finally, I want to say that in this process of delicately balancing our relations across the political spectrum, we are truly grateful for all the support that's been extended to us over the years, especially as we have been put in a situation where the geostrategic challenges are formidable. And a rock-solid partnership with the United States is critically important right now.
Thank you. Now we'll open up the floor to the fifth question. Maybe one from the back, the very back. The gentleman had to head up quite early. The second to left. No, sorry. Yes. This gentleman here. Yes.
我们是日本美丽电视台，不好意思，我不会说好中文，你听不懂的话，我统计再说明。
我听得懂，很好。
谢谢。根据有的民调，蓝白合作成立的话，他们的支持率超过你们的支持率，对这个结果，你有不会，你怎么分析？
那台湾在解严之后，经过多次的民选，还有总统的选举哦，那我们民调起起落落的，对我们来讲最重要的就是要持续的来扩大支持我们的力量。那么在近期发生的很多的对于蓝白合不合的讨论当中事实上对我们来讲，我们能做的不是在旁边看着他们要吵架还是要和，而是让我们自己更好，来争取更多台湾人民对我们的认同。那应该这是我们现在最重要的策略。
Next question from the local reporter. 今日新闻的佩君。
肖大使您好 ，Now News 佩君，想请问一下，您回来之后就随即投入辅选行程，并把辅选首站选在花莲，然后想请教一下你们未来的辅选规划，然后以及如何跟赖清德分进合击。然后此外，您觉得您有什么特质可以在这场选举当中替赖清德加分，然后产生互补的效果？然后肖大使，您刚刚有讲到，就是说要扩大支持力，然后有没有什么比较具体的方式？
针对未来辅选的规划确实竞选总部帮我办的也就是安排要第一场参与的造势活动以及竞总成立活动就是在花莲那虽然我的 人生的第一场选举不是在花莲，其实早年是在台北市的北区。但是花莲却是我过去10年的青春哦。那这个10年在花莲耕耘，我有跟花莲乡亲非常深厚的情感所以在10月26日的花莲的竞选总部，我非常期待可以再次跟许多的花莲乡亲，还有好几年不见的老朋友，能够再一次的见面。那有关我跟赖副总统，也是我们总统候选人之间的这个互补或者是在行程的安排上分进合集这部分竞选总部也都在做非常紧密的规划。那其实外界对我们有没有互补有很多的讨论但是我会同意来或答应来跟赖副总统一起加入这场选战。不在于我们有什么的不同，而是在我们有没有共同的理念跟价值那我想我跟赖副总统一样我们都是把这场选战当作是一个持续守护台湾民主价值让台湾的民主持续进步，来强化我们国家的韧性来面对各式的外来的挑战那这是一个非常沉重的责任但是也是台湾人民长期栽培我们给予我们机会，也为我们准备在做铺路。那所以我也在未来这段期间会持续的就竞选总部的规划来就相关的行程做后续的分工那当然这个分工可以想见的除了花莲是对我来讲非常重要的地方以外那据我了解竞选总部也正在帮我安排一些跟各种不同的群体在透过网络也好，或者是透过实体的对话也好来做更多的互动希望可以就这个一些新的议题包含国际外交的经验甚至是包含许多我们在选战要推动的年轻人在意的一些话题来做意见的交换。
大使，我想因为时间的关系，我们大概还可以接受2题，我们就一样开放1题国际媒体，1题本国媒体。It's a very streamlined press conference because we've decided to provide the translation after the event, which allows us to ask a bit more questions. Now, yes, on the 4th row to the 3rd left. Thank you.
Good morning, Ambassador Xiao. I'm Amy Changchen for the New York Times. We noticed that quite a lot of voters, especially young people in Taiwan, seem to wonder why they should keep voting for the DPP after 7 years in power. We hear complaints about high housing prices and low income rises. Do you think young people's fatigue is a problem? And what's your answer to it? Thank you.
Well, the answer to why people should continue to vote for the DPP after 7 years is because we are the best. And we have presented the best set of candidates in the 2024 elections. But having said that, I also want to acknowledge the many domestic and social challenges that our young people are facing. I think there is a lot of anxiety over housing prices, over good-paying jobs, a sustainable environment, and these are also issues that the young people of many other countries face. While I was in the United States, as I traveled to the different cities, we also hear debates and discussions on these same issues. And I think it's important to recognize that these are very important topics for future generations. And I think the young people want to see some hope and opportunity in their future, and it is our responsibility to provide that roadmap. Our presidential candidate, William Lai, has had a series of policy pronouncements, press conferences, and we will continue to capture these issues in our discussions but also I think in my role in particular, as I bring to this team some extensive international experience, I would like to contribute more in terms of facilitating understanding best practices on a global level in how some of these issues that are important to young people are resolved or remedied or ameliorated in other societies. And I must admit, in the past 3 years, I've been primarily focused on security, economic relations, international participation. But I think in the years ahead, if elected, I'd like to do more work on bringing in best practices on some of the domestic social issues that are top priorities of our future generations.
Okay, the last question for the press conference. 好，三立的冠志。
大使您好，我是三立新闻网的李冠志，我在这里。
哦，好，看到了。
我想请问你哦，因为前2天你说蔡总统有交付你这个在美国的任务，就是让在世界上架台湾。那你到美国去之前也列了任务清单哦。那过去3年期间，你觉得你完成了多少%的这个任务？就是说，在你的这个任务清单里面，有多少项是你完成的？有多少项是你希望未来当上副总统，然后成为执政团队的一员，然后希望推动的？那还有另外一个部分，就是说过去推动外交工作，那你的亮眼成绩其实大家也都看得到。那相信大家看不到的就是你辛苦的地方，那以及可能心情比较不好的地方。那你在面对这样的情绪的时候，你怎么去排解？
哦，这个问题好广哦。首先呢，我3年半以前要赴任的时候，确实蔡总统有期望我在美国对于促进台湾的透过台美关系的提升来促进台湾的安全与繁荣都有一些交代。那我去到美国之后，这些当然都是非常重要的优先议题包含我们好不容易可以启动的台美21世纪贸易倡议那这也是经历千辛万苦终于有个起头。那另外在军事安全领域我们的合作也更深入也更广泛。当然这个过程里面，我觉得还是有一些未完成的工作例如说21世纪贸易倡议的谈判还有后面几批的议题要持续的处理。那另外呢，我今年这个年度非常努力的，我本来很期待我可以在任内完成签署的就是避免双重课税这是许多的台商国内的企业在做全球布局的过程当中对于在美国扩大他们的布局以及影响力所提出非常重要的议题那我们取得了非常重要的进展，包含国会2院民主共和2党的领袖都有极高度的认同，也已经提出了这个修法的草案。那这个部分已经临门一脚了非常期待能够早日来落实。那这我相信也对于台美经济关系的深化是会有非常长远的影响。那当然其他的议题还很多有一些议题是在3年半赴任期没有想到自己会碰到的，所以在这3年半期间，我事实上也学习了很多那包含供应链的韧性的问题那包含这个去向美方争取疫苗这件事情这个也是一个这个包含对整个法律的架构那甚至是疫苗的在美国生产的机制到后来捐赠的国际机制，我们都其实下了很多很多的功夫，这个背后是很难今天一语道之是非常冗长跟复杂也很辛苦的过程。但是我觉得很欣慰的就是我们驻美代表处有很多的阿信们 好，曾经 Vincent 也是其中之一哦。那我们驻美代表处的团队哦，大家都是非常任劳任怨哦。那在每一个议题上哦，跟我一起努力，那让我们可以在这些议题上取得进展。这个刚提到这个有没有心情不好情绪哦？这个我觉得身为台湾人，在国际空间这个领域而言哦，做台湾人都是很辛苦的。因为我们面对的对我们不公平的国际的环境我们所遭遇到国际空间的打压以及我们国际地位的特殊性这过程当中确实会有很多的挫折但是身为台湾人，我们的特性也是这些挫折让我们更有韧性也让我们更懂得很务实的去找到达到目的的这个路径那所以在很多的议题上，虽然千辛万苦我举这个双重课税议题为例我们回去看背景，我们这一题已经讲了40年，那现在终于能够取得具体的进展，也是我们整个团队还有历任代表大使们大家共同努力的成果那我们这个以情绪的角度来看我最担心的一件事是台湾的黑暗的政治漩涡我一直不想面对那一直觉得这个好不容易找到一个不用选举，然后可以专心为国家做事的位置那我也很期待未来是可以继续专心的为国家做事不被这个不相干的议题所干扰那我们每个人的能量都是会全力的付出那但是这些能量如果可以聚焦在对国家具有建设性的议题上面应该对大家都是更好的所以这也是我对自己的期许。那每个人的成长历程都难免会有一些挫折我自己也是。但是每一个挫折跟每一个伤口都是我们成长的养分也成为我人生历练非常重要的一部分那这些历练我相信也让我现在更坚强更有能力来面对各式的内外的挑战。
This brings us right on time to conclude our press conference and press event. It's true. I mean, we published this event schedule ahead of time so that everybody knows when was the stop time for this event, and we're right at that stop time right now.
事实上，我们在今天安排了一个彩蛋，大家都很期待有个机会可以跟大使更近距离的互动。所以在接下来的时间呢，虽然不是 Q&A， 但是我们会邀请大使直接就到各位的位置这里来，我们来介绍媒体朋友们跟大使互相认识，打个招呼。可以有寒暄的时间，更距离的互动。
但是我们在寒暄之前，我们先来合影一下，大家一起拍一张照片。那这个世界上架台湾，我想这个也是我们选举的一个共同诉求之一。
好，时间是足够的，对，放心放心。谢谢，抱歉，我们邀请大使对能够到各位媒体的位置这里来进行一位一位的介绍。从第一排开始。
You did this excellent report just recently. Is Joey Wang? Yeah, Amy's from the. 那我们继续往这边走，可以吗？对，稍微后退一点。
需要往后，请小心，请小心，在上
谢谢，谢谢。
往下，请大家稍微一步。
We'll do questions at this time, but we'll keep it for another time. Yeah.
We can keep in touch. 往这个方向走。
然后我们就继续往后退一点吗？
我们会往这边走，大家要小心。
我们想我不问问题，因为我们刚不行，因为我跟你说，因为这个如果继续问下去的话，我们没有
依赖论不是问题，对不对？因为有人说想要稍，
因为我们
介绍一下就好，介绍，好，介绍就好。
可以介绍你，因为现在是一个互动时间。你方便做这样子的互动介绍吗？现在的规则是在互动介绍，谢谢谢谢。
Congratulations on the elevation. 好，那小心哦，小心哦。香港，对，希望小安继续跟香港支持香港。好，对，你在外交部，在部长的时候，
国际媒体哪一个？
但是还有国际媒体的老朋友，
没有，国际媒体的老朋友。
交换名片就好。
我觉得你很厉害，你居然找。